general elections. I'm joined by Laura Mondi on our sign language interpretation. My name is Macharia, and this is The Insight, coming to you live from Ecclesia Broadcasting Networks right here in the country's capital. All right, now the Insight starts now. And the Independent Electoral and Monitoring Commission, that is the Iebc, has raised concerns that legal and financial constraints could affect its preparedness for the 2027 general elections. Now, the Iebc chairperson, that is Erastus Dang Ethakon, spoke to the press at the Commission's headquarters in Nairobi, highlighting the unresolved legal matters, including pending court determinations on the credibility of the 2019 census report, pose significantly the challenges to electoral readiness. In addition, the Commission announced plans to review constituency and ward boundaries using a phased approach, citing legal, constitutional and operational constraints that have delayed the exercise beyond the constitutionally mandated timelines. Take a look.
Challenges in terms of meeting those constitutional timelines, and I've explained the factors that led to that. The absence of the commissioners to undertake the policy decisions and oversight around. Therefore, this approach will enable us as the Commission to meet our constitutional obligations on boundary reviews by helping us to advance our preparatory work while also monitoring the outcomes of the litigation processes that are currently pending. 19 census is a matter that is in court, and yet the Commission requires that data for us to publish what is called a preliminary report of boundary delimitation, and for us to publish a notice of intention to delimit electoral boundaries. And in the absence of that data, in the absence of that report, then our hands are tied and we cannot progress.
Right, now let's talk matters health workers under the universal health coverage, that is the UHC program in Nairobi County, staged a demonstration in the city today demanding that both the national and county governments urgently address their long-standing employment grievances. The workers, who have served for over 6 years on temporary contracts, say they continue to lack payment, employment pensions and other essential benefits despite their years of service. During the protest, demonstrators carried placards highlighting delayed salaries, lack of health insurance and challenging working conditions. Speaking to the media, the representatives emphasized the need for immediate confirmation of the employment inclusion in a national pension scheme and assurance of job security comparable to other public servants. Take a look.
Release an official memo that confirms that the process has officially begun. Number 2, we want an irreducible minimum of PNP that should have started yesterday because it is long overdue. We also want to say that if that process has started, we need an official memo that confirms that the process has begun and that at the end of the contract in April, there is continuity of services, because the contract is coming to an end in April. And so far, we only get statements that this process of absorption has begun. But the ministry and the government have not officially communicated, and therefore we demand, or we want an official communication to know as to whether, with the timelines, when is this going to be effective. And also they need to confirm to us that the process has begun and therefore services are not going to be interrupted, and therefore the salaries, the ROD, should be changed so that at least these officers who are here are sure of their job. We want to demand from our employer letters that confirms the president's statement, directive. We do not expect that the president gives a directive and some quarters contravene the executive order.
Now, the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged parliamentary committees to treat individuals appearing before them with respect warning that misconduct could affect lawmakers' chances for other of re-election in 2027. Speaking during the official opening of the parliamentary conference, Wetangula said his office had received complaints from some witnesses alleging they were disrespected during committee sessions. Now, the speaker cited high-profile examples including Inspector General of Police, that is Douglas Kanja, and officials from the Teachers Service Commission, emphasizing that members of parliament must conduct themselves responsibly while questioning or receiving reports.
Interests are included in this retreat program and pave way for focused deliberations on key national and governance issues, including the regulation and financing of political parties. And we had John Cox is here from the ORPP. Election preparedness, the state of the economy, implementation of a competency-based education curriculum, and I'm happy to note that in the program, the CS, National Treasury, CS Education will be joining us tomorrow or the day after. The status of healthcare service delivery, CS Aden Duale and his team will be here. And the way forward with respect to the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NGCDF, which I want to believe you all have a deep interest in.
As political activity inevitably intensifies, this retreat offers us an opportunity to pause, reflect, and refocus. It allows us to step away from the politics that now dominate public discourse and to remind ourselves of our enduring constitutional responsibility of legislation, oversight, and representation of the people of Kenya with dignity and purpose. Honorable members, as we move closer to the election cycle, we must also remain alive to the political environment that naturally accompanies such a period. Experience teaches us that as political temperatures rise, positions harden, and competition intensifies. These dynamics are inevitable in a democratic society, but they must never be allowed to erode the integrity, dignity, and collegiality of this House.
All right, moving on, the principal of Kingdom Calvary Theological College, that is KCTC, Dr. Charles Mwangi, has condemned an alleged attack that took place at ACK Witima Church in Nyeri County last Sunday, describing it as a serious threat to freedom of worship and an example of growing state interference in religious affairs. Dr. Mwangi was reacting to claims by Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua, who alleged that he was attacked by goons escorted by police officers while attending the church service. Speaking during an interview with EBN TV, Dr. Mwangi faulted the government for what he termed as undue involvement in religious institutions, insisting that the churches should be allowed, to manage their own affairs without political or state control. Take a look.
There was an attack of our former deputy president, EGH, Rigathi Gachagua, and I took this as a bishop, that whatever happened in Othaya Nyeri, it was totally banned. It didn't glorify God. Whether it is politics or not, it wasn't good. That he was attacked by goons. And when I was watching the TV, and I saw GK that belongs to the police, and the former deputy president doesn't have his own police. He doesn't have his own firearms. He doesn't have his own canisters, tear gas canisters. But what made me feel bad is because of the children and the old mamas who were there, and they were crying because of the tear gas. I do request, because His Excellency, the President of this country, Dr. Samuel Ruto, he is totally aware of all the agents. He is totally aware of the security. And so no one can convince me that he never knew what was not happening. He knew exactly what was happening. And I want, today is 27, and he has not yet spoken. I want to hear him. I want to hear him speaking. Because we as the bishops, the members of the clergy, we have come up and we have said we want to know exactly what was happening. Me, I am not a politician, I am a Bible scholar and I am a teacher, but politics is part and parcel of the church. But if they want to throw tear gas canisters, why don't they wait somewhere else instead of in the churches? Why don't they wait until those politicians come out of the church and they go on? And so we are still waiting for that. And so it shall be good.
Now let's talk matters education, and Narok East Member of Parliament Ken Kiloku has announced a 3-day mop-up exercise aimed at tracking all learners who are yet to report to senior school as the government steps up efforts to enforce the 100% transition policy under the new education system. Speaking at the Narok East Constituency Development Fund, that is CDF office in Naigera Nkare during the verification of bursary applications, Kiloku said it was worrying that a significant number of grade 10 learners were still at home despite the law requiring all students to proceed to senior school. The legislator called on parents and guardians to take responsibility for their children's education and ensure that they report to school without delay, noting that failure to do so undermines national education policy.
Leo tumejaribu kuangalia mashule zote zile ziko Narok East, tuangalie kama tutalipia wanafunzi wale ambao wako kwa hizo mashule, so that wale principals na mashule iweze kuadmit hawa watoto bila taswishi yoyote ama bila kizingizio yoyote. Na nashukuru mashule kama St. Anthony's, Kekonyuki. Jana nimepata ya kwamba karibu watoto 100 wameingishwa kwa hizo mashule mawili kwa sababu ya haya. Na tunaitikia wito ya rais ya kusema kila mwanafunzi hakikisha kwamba ako shule ama ameenda shule. Na unajua hizi ni wakati ngumu sana. Kuna ukame kwa hii county, kuna ukame kwa hii Narok East, na tunashukuru Mungu some part of it ziko sawa, lakini unaona watoto wamepita lakini wako nyumbani.
Alright, moving on, Kingdom Calvary Theological College, KCTC, on Tuesday conducted a special training session for its students at its Umoja branch in Nairobi, preparing trainees for service in ministry and leadership in the church. Now, the institution, which equips believers with a strong calling and passion to serve and advance the gospel of Christ, is scheduled to hold its graduation ceremony on 21st August of 2026 for its current trainees. Kingdom Calvary Theological College has additional branches in Machakos and Kiambu counties, as well as several other locations across the country, enabling students from diverse regions to receive in-depth theological education and spiritual training.
My name is Kate Gathoni. I'm the administrator of KCTC since the year 2020. KCTC means Kingdom Calvary Theological College, where we equip servant leaders into good knowledge of the Word of God by training them in the Bible school. It's a Bible school.
Maybe is this only branch or we have?
No. This is one of the branches we have here in Umoja, which this is the oldest. We have Kiambu, we have Matu, we have Lakisama and Lamu. And we also intending to be in Murang'a very soon. The only thing you need to have is a desire in knowing the Word of God. And we provide with books. We have material for teaching in the Bible school. The only thing is availability and your desire to the Word of God. At the moment, we don't offer scholarship, but when we have students who have desire to learn and to know the Word of God, we look into terms of payment and terms of agreement and how we can assist them.
I'm Bishop Dr. Charles Mwangi, the presiding bishop of the Ambassadors of God churches here in Kenya, or that is the AGC. I'm also the principal of KCTC. KCTC stands for Kingdom Calvary Theological College, just as our administrator has said. I have been teaching in Bible schools for the last 32 years within East and Central Africa. And I can say we have a log of pastors. We can pick them out through Bible schools. And that is why KCTC exists. Any person preaching through the media, through the TV, and has a Bible, maybe a bad doctrine, I will tell. And okay, for that person who is preaching a bad doctrine, I have no power, okay, to deal with him. That is where now the government comes in.
Now, moving on, long-distance truck drivers in Kenya have raised concerns of alleged violations of their rights by security officers and some employers, citing excessive road restrictions and unfair labor practices. Speaking on behalf of the drivers, Roman Waema condemned the increase in roadside restrictions used by security personnel, claiming they often harass drivers or demand bribes, disrupting transport operations. Waema called on Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen to address the issue by installing speed cameras along highways, a move he says will streamline cargo transportation across East and Central Africa. In addition to roadside challenges, Waema highlighted exploitation by some employers through unfair contracts, noting that while some drivers are paid a little as 25,000 Kenya shillings, others similar roles earn 41,800 Kenya shillings.
Kumekuwa na maofisa wengi sana wa trafiki na polisi wa kawaida katika barabara zetu, ikielekea kwamba hata unaweza kufikiria nchi iko na vita na hakuna vita vyovyote, kwa sababu kuanzia Mombasa kwenda mpaka Malaba kuna roadblock zaidi ya 55, na wewe mwenyewe unashindwa hizi roadblock ni za kazi gani katika barabara zetu. Zingine ni za kuchukua pesa kuanzia hapa. Kwanza ukifika Mtito Andei, hiyo ni kama mahali sasa pa kurokota pesa. Hakuna sheria yoyote ambayo inatumika. Mali ni mahali pia pa kurokota pesa. Ni ufisadi ambao umekita mizizi pale.
Security authorities in Jomvu constituency have warned residents against taking the law into their own hands to solve local challenges, urging them to work closely with security agencies. Deputy County Commissioner for Jomvu, Dolphin Okondo, speaking at Mireroni, emphasized the importance of community cooperation with law enforcement. She warned that individuals engaging in criminal activities or fleeing the Rabai area to hide from authorities will be tracked and face legal consequences. Okondo further stated that the department will follow up on the children who have run away from Rabai instead of attending school, with plans to reintegrate them into the education system.
Acheni kama kuna jambo, kuna security team hapa, these are the people who are trained to handle such issues. Kuna watu wanafanya makosa hapa, wanakimbia wanaenda Rabai. Leo tulikuwa tuje na timu ya Rabai ya security team, lakini wako kwingine huko kwao pia wanashughulikia mambo mengi. Kwa hivyo tokea saa hii hakutakuwa na nafasi ya mtu kufanya makosa na anaruka Rabai. Tutakufuata mpaka huko. Mambo na watoto wa shule. Watoto hawaendi shuleni. Hapa kwa sasa hivi tunaongea kuna watoto 19 hawajaripoti wako Rabai. Whatever they are doing there we don't know. Na tutawaflash, na tukiwa flash out, be rest assured tunakuja na children's officer na kuna section yako.
Unaambie polisi wanasukuma hapa Mroroni. Wapigeni makofi polisi wetu kwa kufanya kazi nzuri. Ikiwa polisi hawasukumi hapa Mroroni, kwa nini nyinyi mchukue mapanga muende kupigana wenyewe kwa wenyewe? Kwa hivyo maneno hiyo iishe. Na mimi nikiwa mbunge wenu nimesema amri hiyo. Nionyesheni kwa mikono, sote tumekubaliana tutaishi kwa amani.
Right now, 15 people have tested positive for cervical cancer, prostate cancer, and hypertension during a free cancer screening camp held at Ngiriambo Primary School in Gichungu. Among those diagnosed are 6 women with cervical cancer and 7 men with prostate cancer, all of whom have been referred to Kerugoya Level 5 Hospital for further evaluation. Additionally, 2 individuals with severe hypertension were rushed to the hospital in an ambulance for urgent care. Now, the 4-day cancer screening camp organized to mark Cancer Awareness Month has attracted over 500 elderly men and women. The initiative is led by Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Modhoni in partnership with the Kirinyaga County Government. Notably, more men than women attended the camp, marking a shift from previous health outreach.
This particular time is that we've been able to screen over 100. And it's currently ongoing again. So we might be talking about over 200 or 300 by end of the second day, which is today, Tuesday. So we have positives. We are talking about positivity rate, which we've been able to capture using the latest technology of HPV testing, which is a rapid test. Oncoprotein HPV rapid testing, we've been able to have a positivity rate of around 20%. So that 20%, we are getting over 90% cases after confirmation using VIA, the available method. And those are the numbers currently. And out of the confirmed, or what you call the positives, out of the next step of screening, which is VIA, visual, it's called VIA, where they apply acetic acid at the cervix to visualize whether there is a lesion. We've gotten we've gotten so far one case where that woman was treated at point of care, and the rest of the cases they are being referred because they are suspicious. In fact, one of the cases yesterday, we were getting a lesion of over 75%. So those cases are being referred to Kirinyaga Hospital for closer examination, including biopsy. So for prostate also, we had 2 cases over which the PSA levels are beyond the normal range, and they are being referred for also a checkup. So for the breast cancer screening at the CPE, a majority of the population who was screened had normal observation. So one thing which is coming out also in this screening exercise, especially for cervical cancer, we are also urging
All right, now let's get sporty, and Gor Mahia will be out to strengthen their position at the top of the league table when they host Sofapaka in a crucial Premier League clash on Saturday at Nyayo Stadium from 4 p.m. Now, the league leaders have stepped up preparations ahead of the encounter, with the technical bench expressing confidence in the team's readiness and focus. Assistant coach Kobe Bismarck said the squad has trained intensively and is fully prepared to face a tough Sofapaka side. Goalkeeper Brian Omondi echoed the coach's sentiments, noting that the players are highly motivated and mentally sharp. He said the team remains focused on securing maximum points to maintain their lead at the top of the standings.
Being like our first day training, tuko prepared kwa game ya Saturday. It's not an easy match because hata kulingana hata kama like form yao iko vibaya, naweza sema kucheza na Sofapaka Gor against Sofapaka iko angia an easy match tukiangalia back in the years. So tuko prepared because right now tunajua like any game inafaa kuwa ni a must win for us because the league iko so competitive. So we are prepared for that match because we are going for a win.
I think from our last game, the players did well. There was so many areas that I think we need to improve technically, and we have started working on it. We gave them 2 days off. We started training today for the preparation for our next coming game. So I think we add a lot of seriousness to our preparation, and I think we'll be ready by Saturday.
So how do you intend to approach the game?
considering your opponents?
Yes, we have watched them. I think we watched them in their last game against Leopard. They're a good team. And from what we saw, I think that we have a plan as to how to approach the game. We can't talk about it, but we're going to be serious about it. It's a team that I think they are good. We need to play above ourselves to be able to beat them.
All right, it is exactly 29 minutes past the top of the hour. That's not to wrap up our program here on The Insight. You've been watching The Insight with me, Martin Macharia, and I was joined by Laura Omondi on the sign language interpretation. Do have yourself a lovely night, and as always, let's do this again when God says you do.